So it's come to a very interesting place with Ubisoft. They are in a financial situation that's quite precarious. And from what I'm seeing, I can already tell you that the Guillermo family are not going to let this company go to another owner in that regard. There's probably going to be part ownership. And the Tencent move is a shrewd move at the end of the day. A lot of, people talking about this and a lot of gamers are not seeing what I think I'm seeing. It's not like I'm seeing anything special, but think about what already happened since the conversation changed as of Friday. So news articles came out, and the news articles are like, oh, wait, it seems like the Guillermo family are considering Tencent as a means to go on a private side in terms of the company. Well, what does that do? It jumps the shares that were already down about 30-ish% according to the reports. And then right after the, news comes out, next thing you know, it's Friday, market closes, everybody goes home. Boom. Do you not think this was very orchestrated? Do you think this was just something that was a random fact? They probably, knew that they had this particular, option underneath their sleeves. They just needed the right time to go ahead and drop the news. And then trading got halted because the hype was now there. So the investors that were punishing Ubisoft, they're now in a very interesting place because there are many investors. And the way Ubisoft has actually structured the company, they've realized who exactly, will be allied to them in keeping their main goal, which is to maintain control of the company. This is the Guillermo family. So when it comes down to it, if anybody is wondering what's going to happen to Ubisoft, I think they have a lot of plans underneath, in terms of their sleeves. I think they probably would need a very heavy level of restructuring. They didn't do good restructuring when they lost a lot of their creative leadership to what I think are a lot of controversial, situations. And so once they started losing those leadership elements in different, games and in different franchises, they should have had people that were coming up the ranks that were quality people in terms of creativity and in terms of being able to land very, solid offerings in those different franchises. They seem to have made some really interesting changes that, would have advanced the company. But it just seemed like those changes were not necessarily, impactful as I would have thought. Remember when they took a lot of their big franchises and then they basically put them underneath individuals? Like the Assassin's Creed franchise was underneath one person. The, Tom Clancy's franchises were under one person. The Far Cry franchises under one person. But at the end of the day, it just seemed like the company as a whole was not too focused on making video games that was appealing to its audience. Rather, it decided that it was going to pursue some kind of investment strategy, or maybe the development strategy that was representative of the modern day elements that need to be in these entertainment media, or they feel they need to be in this entertainment media. And over time, the quality of their game has not even been up to par. That's just the thing. If the games were quality, gamers usually can overlook a lot of stuff. So at the end of the day, these games that came out were just kind of subpar. They were getting 7s out of 10 in gamers' minds, 6 out of 10. And people were just looking at it like, okay, it's another Far Cry game. What's the unique proposition here? What really makes this game stand out? While at the same time, other games that say maybe those kinds of gamers would probably have resonated with, like Ghost Recon, a new Division game, or maybe even a Division remake of some kind, or whatever it is, new DLC, new content. Those things were put on the back burner while they pursued the Hollywood-esque level of development, making a Star Wars and an Avatar game. But at the end of the day, I think that, all the alarm and all of the shouting, yes, those, it seemed really dire, but you really got to understand that, the Guillermo family have been in this industry for at least 30 years at this point, from just, selling games and such. And all of their hard work, anybody that's coming to try to take it is going to need to really, really put up a very significant fight. This is not the first time that they've gone through this. Remember, there was a time that they almost got overtaken by another company. And after all was said and done, that company kind of backed up. It was close, but they found ways to go get a major investor that was going to pretty much help them achieve their goals. And I think Tencent's always been kind of like on their back in a sense. And I think Tencent also has, at the end of the day, no reason to want to, how do I put it? They have no reason to want to own Ubisoft and really control Ubisoft, because that's not really their methodology of doing things. I mean, does anybody understand? If they own Ubisoft and have to control Ubisoft, all that managerial stuff is just, more for them. They just prefer that they put the money in and see their return, while somebody else, gets the job done in a sense. So I think this is probably what's made them the strongest investor for Ubisoft, and because it aligns with their goals, the Guillermo family goals. Now, if say the company Ubisoft were to fall into Tencent's hands, there's also another aspect as well too that makes things very interesting, because Xbox sold their cloud gaming rights to Ubisoft in order for them to be able to acquire Activision. Which at the end of the day, they can always still, have had a clause that says if somebody tried to acquire it, then those cloud gaming rights would probably go back to Microsoft, or in some way, Microsoft might go back to the I think it's the CMA, and say, hey man, we need to get these cloud gaming rights back from this other company, and it would defeat the CMA's purpose anyways in trying to, not let something as big as that fall into a big company for monopolization. So again, it's a very complex, issue at the end of looking at the way all things are. But anyways, this is one of the craziest things that we've seen in the last few months, and it's really sparked a lot of conversation. Some people have had a lot to say about it. I think it's been really interesting. I mean, there's no doubt about the fact that right now in the gaming industry, Ubisoft is under the proverbial radar, and how they are able to get out of this is important for a lot of people who may be vested in playing a lot of their games. But at the end of the day, it's a really big company. Like, it's not, it's not going to be a cheap company to acquire because they have so many established IPs. Their biggest problem is being able to continue to appeal to their gamers without underhanded tactics. A lot of stuff has leaked from there, and there are correlations at the same time actually happening. So it'll be interesting at the end of the day to see how this plays out. I've not necessarily concluded anything because, again, you can see how Friday closed out. It really was quite different than many people would have thought. But these are my thoughts on this particular issue. I'd love to hear yours in the comment section. How do you think this affects the Division franchise as a whole? Thanks so much for watching the video. Appreciate you guys so much. Hopefully we can talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.